it's Yasa here at freeballetdanceclasses.com. So today we're going to be talking about double veil. We've been talking about double veil lately. And today I'm actually going to want to show you, well, I am going to show you how to come out with double veil. There's different ways you can do that. You can simply hold a double veil, both veils together. So kind of like if you're in the backstage, this is your private couch in the backstage, like you have one, right? But if you have some space in the backstage, make sure that you align the two veils together, kind of like I showed you in a previous video of how to hold the veils together. Make sure you have the exact spots of where you're supposed to hold it, kind of like point it out carefully for you so you're ready to hold it and grab it when you're ready to go. So you can just kind of grab it like this, and go, because you've already kind of aligned everything together and you're ready to do your double veil dancing any way you want to do it, all right? So that's one way to do it. But you might want to put it in your skirt, for example. That's one way some people like to do it. They kind of make it part of their skirts, where like when you come out, you don't really tell if it's part of your skirt or not, what exactly it is. In my performances, I love actually the idea of the surprise element when it comes to double veil. I really do. I think it's one of the fun parts of doing double veil is a surprise element. And so one of the things you can do to emphasize that surprise element is to have the veil attached to your outfit, which means tight in your belt, in your skirt, and then maybe cover the belt with it. Some people like to do the skirt thing and then the belt first, and then they tie the veil on top. I think it's a little bit too obvious and it kind of kills the surprise element. So I like to have the veil underneath the belt, and then, so I'll tie inside my skirt, and then I'll put my belt on top. Okay, that way it kind of just looks like it's part of the skirt, okay? So let me show you how to do that. If this is the option you choose, okay? Because you can just choose the easy option, which is like I showed you before, grab the veil and go, and then dance with it. So what you're gonna do here is you take the exact corners where you wanna be holding the veils with your hands when you start dancing with it, when you like get it out of your skirt. You want those two corners on each side of your hips, okay? So you take the first one, and you make sure you tie it, like, let's say this is my skirt, not my belt. I really want you guys to imagine that this is my skirt, because I would put my belt on top. I prefer that, but some people don't prefer that. So I would put it here, and there, okay? And then I'll take the other parts, and what I do is kind of like, if this is the edge, like you see guys, this is the edge, right? I will take this part right here in the middle, just below the edge and the trim of the veil, and that is the part I will go and tuck underneath my skirt. Okay. The reason I do that is just because I wanted to make sure that it's in all the way. Okay. I don't want it just the tip side, because that could come out easily. So right now, as you can see, the two sides of the veil, well, one of them is obviously longer than the other, so that already tells me that there's a problem here, right? So I'm going to adjust that a little bit. There's always those little things. So you make sure you adjust it. So here we go, and then here we go. Okay, so let's say I'm wearing red and pink is just the shade that I'm trying to accomplish, then I would want my red on the other side. If it was exactly the opposite, I'm wearing pink and red is the shade, then I would have the red inside. So you want the shade of your skirt to be in the front so it looks like it's part of your skirt, okay? Good. I'm aligning these things here to make sure I'm doing this right. So make sure everything is the exact same distance apart. Pretty close. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to tighten these guys on the sides. Now, this is how I look like when I do this in the backstage. The other side of the veil is on the floor, okay? And then the back is obviously all the way on the ground. So this obviously is not something I could come out with on stage. So what I would do from here is I would take the back of my skirt, or both veils, or the back of my veils in this case. I want it to look like they're part of my skirt, but they're not really part of my skirt. So I'll take the back as high as possibly can until it's about the same length as my skirt, or even actually shorter than my skirt, as long as it's not longer than my skirt. And I would tie this right in the middle of my back. Okay, and make sure you have enough fabric to go inside so it doesn't come out easily. Okay, so I think I'm okay now in the back, as you guys can see, right? Now coming to the front, as you can tell, the corners are still on the floor, and I'm gonna step on. So what I would do here is this. As you can tell, one of my veils is shorter than the other. So like the pink in this case is shorter. But what I'll do is I'll just grab the edges together, because it makes really no difference at this point. I'll grab the edges together, and I will tuck them also. You can see this. So the back is fine, the sides are fine, but the front is not quite fine. I will tuck these two guys in the front. But again, make sure you have enough fabric to go in so it doesn't slide. So see how high I'm going? All this fabric from my hips in is going to go inside my belt. And I'm gonna tuck these babies in the front, not in the side. So in the front. Okay, so this is how it's gonna go for me. If I'm going up on stage to perform a double veil and I want the veil tucked in to look like part of my costume, I would put it exactly like this before I put my belt on top. I know it's a lot of fabric, and I know you feel like, oh my God, this is like so heavy, and it feels like it's so thick on my hips, but you're only doing this for so much time before you start revealing it. And a lot of times when you're doing a double veil dance, you're kind of revealing this within the first like 1 minute or two of your dance, right? So this is okay if it's not going to last too long. So the edges of the bottom will be in the front. The edges that you actually will grab with your hands when you're dancing should be right on the side. And then the extra fabric so it doesn't dangle in the back on the floor should be right in the middle of the back. Now you go and you grab your belt that you're going to be using for your costume, and you align it right above all this, and you close it. And now ready to come on stage. And this is how you look without anybody seeing exactly, you know, where all this fabric is tucked. But you guys can see it. I want you to see it. Okay? So this is how it's going to be. So this is a kind of a hard way to do it, but it's fun because of the surprise effect. Now, let's talk about how to open all this stuff up, right? That's the hardest part. So let's say you're on stage, you're doing a little pivoting, a little spinning, here's your audience, little entrance, so it's all fun, blah, 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 right? And then it gets to that point where you kind of like start thinking, okay, it's time to get that veil out, right? But whenever you want to open your veil, you don't want to open it too fast and you don't want to open it too slow, okay? You don't want to open it too fast because it's really hard for you to make sure you're grabbing the exact parts that you want to grab and make sure that the visual effect is right. You don't want to grab it too slow because then it's obvious for your audience as to what you're doing, all right? So, personally, what I advise you to do is do it in pieces, okay? The hardest and most important part is the edges on the side, not the front, not the back. Because remember, we're tucking the front, we're tucking the back for one and one reason only, so we don't step on it. Okay? I don't care about grabbing this. This is not like a focus point for me, nor is this. The focus point for me is the side. That's the focus point for me. Okay? Because that's exactly when I'm grabbing the veil. And as long as I'm strong and I can just like pull it from here up, everything should be able to come out. If you're not strong, there's other ways to work around it. But if you're strong, you should be able to just pull that veil from the sides, and then everything, the front and the back would come out. So the focus point should be the sides. So let's say you're dancing, you know, there's two ways you can do it, as I said. You can do it slow, you can do it fast. If you're doing it slow, let's say you do it like some figure eights, obviously you want to do it with some sort of a move that's going to distract your audience as to what you're doing. Whether it's figure eights, you know, Egyptian figure eights, or you can do your mayas, or sometimes you can do your shimmies as you're trying to grab that veil. So the way you want to do it is you want to bring your hands, which is all these fingers, see these fingers right here, these four up, these are the ones that go underneath the veil. And then remember that the thumb is what locks it all together. So you want to take all these fingers, okay, and you want to put him underneath the veil. So we're going to want to go from the back, like right about here. See these my fingers? These babies are going to go right here, and you can see the space. It's nice and easy to get in. And I left it like that intentionally. So we want to be able to get in and see my fingers go all the way to the other side. All this stuff is happening underneath my belt, but I'm the one who knows about it, and I can easily do it. So as long as I got my fingers underneath and they can go all the way to the front, I'm clear. Because all I have to do is take my thumb, okay, and I can just pull it out. Okay, so that's really, really important. So let's say you're doing your dance, and as I said, it could be slow, it could be fast. So let's say you're doing figure eights. Okay, you can do your figure eights here all you want to, or you can do your shimmies, and then start getting those fingers in, and make sure that you relax, relax, relax. Do something else, distract. The key is really to distract your audience, right? But when you're ready, and then maybe the music changes, and then you can just like take this part right here and kind of like bam, pull it out. Okay, and as soon as you pull this part out, really, all you have to do is kind of like push your arms up, and then the rest of your veil will eventually start to come up. The higher you come up, the rest of your veil. So whatever you tucked in the front and whatever you tucked in the back will eventually come out. Okay, so that's a beginning start point, and if you do it right, everything from there is a piece of cake, you guys. You got your veil ready, you know, you don't have just one part of it, okay? And the rest will be just easy. You can just dance it out and have fun with it. But that first part, you have to do it really slow. You can do the exact same thing that I just did, which is getting your hands underneath and pulling up. I did it really slowly, like what are you doing, shimmies, or are you doing figure eights? But you can also do the same exact thing while you're doing spins if you prefer to do that. But you gotta make sure you still get your hands in slowly. So like, you know, you're spinning fast, and then you start to get your hands in, and then bam, and then just get it up. So you can do it both ways. It doesn't matter. I'm not doing it that way now for you, but you can exactly do the same thing. You know, spinning. There's really no difference. Okay? So that is just to show you how to get the veil, or those two veils, out of your hips as you're starting your double veil performance without anybody knowing. Okay? If you have two colors, maybe somebody will know that you have two veils, but if you have the exact same color, nobody will know that you have the two veils. So that's not how much of an element of surprise you're trying to put into your dance. I suggest, if you're trying to put an element of surprise in your dance, you're obviously wanting to use two veils that are exactly the same color, which means you're also trying to do we're adding the element of surprise by putting the veil around your hips. Otherwise, you would just come out with just two veils, you know, just kind of open like this from the beginning of your dance. Okay, so that's what this video is for. Now, to learn what to do with this veil after you open it, how to do different double veil movements, check out the website. It's freebellydanceclasses.com. Go under technique, click roll down, straight to veil technique, and you will see videos of all those moves. I'll see you guys in the next video. Keep on dancing. I love you all. Thank you for watching me. Have a fantastic dance, a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.